So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the NEBOSH National General Certificate in Occupational Safety and Health. I am Mr. Samuel Shadrach, the head of the course provider for the Shadrach Safety Institute, and I'd also be your main lecturer for this NEBOSH National General Certificate. So, if we can start here, I did sort of made a disclaimer before, which was the weather is sort of overcast on the island of Trinidad. We do have folks joining in here from Guyana. I do not have any Grenadians in this batch, as far as I'm aware. And I may have one person from the UK. I just have to check the rule to make sure of that. But there are students from the UK in every class, and there are students from Grenada and Guyana in every class that we have. The majority of it, though, is Trinidadians in this Saturday class. However, we do have full classes with Guyanese, and we do have full classes with UK nationals as well, right? So one of the reasons for that, I would want to, of course, start is that you all know the NEBOSH qualification. If you look here, and if you don't know, is that it is globally recognized. So even though we are in Trinidad and there would be folks in Grenada and there would be folks, of course, in Guyana, this qualification does not come from Trinidad, nor does it come from any one of those countries that I call it. Well, besides in the UK, it comes from the UK itself. And the NEBOSH qualification is globally recognized. If you have a look, this is NEBOSH homepage. So can you all see the homepage in the background? Yes, okay, thanks, Avinash. I think I saw the head move a bit there. Yeah, so the NEBOSH qualification is globally recognized. And what is different, and so I don't know if you want to start writing. So why I say what is different is that in the countries I call, right? Guyana has a university. Trinidad has many universities. Grenada have the St. George's Academy, right? And so you would find then that places like the New Guyana School, the University of Guyana, Costard, Trinidad and Tobago, Cipriani, the University of the West Indies, they all offer health and safety qualifications. So why this one? Why this one, right? Now, hopefully you all found out why. But if you didn't find out why, I'm telling you why, right? So you should know why, right? From some of those universities, they are local. For example, Trinidad might not accept a certificate from the University of Guyana. And likewise, there are companies in Guyana that would not accept a COSTAD certificate or a UTT certificate, but they will all accept a NEBOSH certificate. Same thing in Grenada. I have done this in Montserrat, St. Lucia, St. Vincent as well, right? So you find that there are local universities and everybody sort of is in the safety, right? But NEBOSH is the one that is globally recognized. Right now, there's some other reasons. Now, so globally recognized is one thing, right? So hopefully you wrote that down. Globally recognized. Your NEBOSH course is globally recognized. Your certificate is good for life. When you do it, you don't have to do it over. In other words, then in the region here, it's like a CXC certificate. Like once you pass for life, right? Once you pass for life. You do not have to do over NEBOSH. If you want to, well, NEBOSH have a range of qualifications. Just show it in a bit, right? Yeah, in fact, if we scroll along the same thing, in fact, we'll see it here, right? So if you want, you can move on. So we have access to the NEBOSH other levels. We call them, like level 4, level 5, level 6, and you can move on, right? And hopefully you don't, no one really goes back and do what they did already. But I'm just saying, you don't have to do that. Once you pass for life, right? So hopefully you take a note of that. There's a second thing to write down. NEBOSH is globally recognized. Second thing to write down is that the certificate is good for life, right? And again, I'm not too sure if you understand what globally recognized means. You see, a lot of people say that, but they don't know what they're saying. Globally recognized means that you could leave here and go to work in Guyana. And likewise, the Guyanese could come to Trinidad. And both Guyanese and Trinidad could go to Grenada, but nobody really wants to go to Grenada, right? For work then, people might go to Grenada for relaxation and pleasure, right? You could actually take your NEBOSH certificate and go to the UK. Folks, are you all listening? You can go to India, you can go to Dubai, you can go to South Africa, you can go to North Africa, which is very rich in terms of oil and gas, right? I have students in Dubai. I have students in Qatar. I have students in the UK. I have students in, well, Australia. All right. Of course, you all know from the class mix today here, we have students in Guyana and in Trinidad, and from what I mentioned, Grenada as well, right? So it's not like a UTT certificate. It's not like a COSTAD certificate, right? And for those who know me, I'm not talking these places bad. I have been with them. I'll tell you about that as the class go on in the next 5 months or so, right? So I have been a past UE lecturer for the last 6 years anyway, right? And I worked at Costard for more than 6 years as well. But we know what they offer, and it's not globally recognized, right? So you have about two things there. The other thing I want to tell you, if we want to start writing, I want to tell you what NEBOSH stands for, because a lot of people say they want to do NEBOSH. I'd write it here for you, but we can click and see it as well. And I'll just write the word NEBOSH, right? So a lot of people say we want to do NEBOSH, we want to do NEBOSH, right? But the truth is, NEBOSH is not one course. And NEBOSH is really nothing to say that have to be in that sentence that you could do NEBOSH, right? NEBOSH refers to a fleet of academic courses, and it does have a meaning, right? I don't know if you want to start, we can start writing it down. The N is national. So that's what you all are doing. Like you are doing the certificate from NEBOSH. The N is national. So please write it down. The last thing you want to do is finish the course, and then you don't even know what NEBOSH stands for. Right? No, nobody would really ask you, but you as an academic person should know what you're doing. Right? So the N is national, the E is examination, national examination. The B is board, like a Presbyterian board, as like a Hindu board, National Examination Board in Occupational Safety and Health, right? The National Examination Board in Occupational Safety and Health, they have been around for more than 40 years. I have been with them formerly as Shadrach Safety Institute for the last 14 years. And prior to being at Shadrach Safety Institute, I was with another school for about 3 or 4 years, right? So I probably have more than 15 years experience with NEBOSH. 1 5 and not 50. The next thing you think, next thing you think I'm very old, right? So 15 years, right? 14 with Shadrach Safety and about 3 with another institute, right? So NEBOSH stands for the National Examination Board in Occupational Safety and Health. And what they do, they offer a range of qualification. Look at here. Now, this page, you could go and click on it too. If you can see my page, all I did was put home NEBOSH. I didn't put the URL because I know you're not going to remember the URL anyway. So I did the simplest thing. I put home NEBOSH, right? So what they do and what we do is that we offer a range of NEBOSH courses from the certificate level. So you can take this on for me, straight up to, and that's supposed to be a straight line, but talking and writing is the same thing, right? Straight up to like what we call the MSc level, right? So in between here, do have a lot of other things, but this is like the start on this stuff, right? So from the certificate level to the MSc level, and I'll put a few things in between. I wouldn't put all because it's too much. It could never fit. And this little diagram I draw here, right? But it have a chart. If you want, I can send you a chart to you on the WhatsApp group, right? And so normally somebody beginning their career in safety, you start off with the National General Certificate Level 3. A lot of you all have asked about that. Some of you all asked, well, where is level 1 and 2? Well, there is a level 2, but there's no level 1. Level 1 comes like your CXC subjects, like high school certificate that, right? So there's no NEBOSH level 1. Somebody said, well, do they have this with level 1? Yes, you did. That was high school, right? High school certificate, your English, your maths, your social studies, your accounting, your chemistry, whatever you all did, that was the level 1, right? They do have level 2 certs, and I would advertise them when we have some running. They are very easy to get. There are no big exams with them. Some of them, they are one-day courses, right? But while we start with level 3, well, you all may have seen, right? Like when you all inquired about the course, many times I would have sent you like an ad. And to become a safety advisor or a safety officer worldwide, I'll show you some of this, but please remember, I can't show you all now. So some of them I would have put in the group chat. I would have sent like some vacancies, right? So to become a safety, the requirement is in NEBOSH level 3. So that's what we start with, right? And the entry requirement in level 3 is your CXC subjects. Many of you have them. Most of you have your 5 CXC. Some of you have way better than that. And if you don't, well, you would have been here because you have other certificates, right? So there is something called mature entry. There is, if you did other academic certificates, we have to consider those to get you into the level 3, right? So this is what, in other words, when you say this is what is in demand and this is what will make you a safety. Folks, not just in Trinidad and not just here. When you have the level 3, you can go anywhere in the world and work. And of course, like I said, representative of that today is the fact that we do seem to have people here from different countries, right? So this will qualify you to be a safety worldwide, right? Now, there are other things. I'm just going to put in 3. I'm just going to put in 3, right? And so there is the level 4 process safety management. I'll just put PSM. There's the level 4 PSM, process safety management. A lot of people after level 3, they move on to that, right? There is the oil and gas certificate, border in level 4, level 5, right? It depends on where is the accrediting body. Like down here, we would say level 5. That's in NEBOSH oil and gas. I'll just put oil there. That's very popular as well. And very popular as well is in NEBOSH diploma, right? This is like a degree. This is like a BSc with honors. We have a full class for this, and we have always had a full class for this. For us, about 22, just like your 22, 23 people. This is a level 6 qualification, is a BSc with honors. So this is who we are, and this is who NEBOSH is. So that's why I did this one. So who NEBOSH is? NEBOSH is the National Examination Board in Occupational Safety and Health. And who we are the Shadrach Safety Institute. And what we do health and safety courses from the certificate level to the higher levels. Now, I'd have a lot more certificates there. Couldn't put it. Those are just the main certificates. I could show them for you. And if you're writing and your chart was longer than mine, you could fit them in. I'm going to shout about 3, right? So they are risk assessment certificates. There are accident investigation certificates. There are environmental certificates. There are fire certificates. I said 3. And there are construction certificates, right? So when they say our range of qualification, it is really a range. However, please keep your focus. To become a safety, this is what you need. So if you want to get your foot in the door in a company and be employed, Dubai, London, Trinidad, Guyana, Grenada, level 3. If you want to move to level 4, that's up to you. We will tell you when we are having it. You want to move to level 5, that's up to you. You want to move to the degree? Well, you'll have to tell us if you want to do the degree because there's a waiting list, right? Currently, folks, you're writing, anybody writing? I want to know how fast to go now. Like if you're writing, I'll go a bit slower, right? So currently, okay, so I see Kendon writing. They're very good, very good. I want you all to write. So currently, Anisha as well, currently currently in the Caribbean and in South America, we are the only provider for these courses. I'll say that one more time. And I'll clear it up for you because some of you may say, wait now, doesn't it have NSAFE? Doesn't it have ATC? Doesn't it have School of Nations in Guyana? Yes, but let me clear it up, right? So I'll say what I said before. Currently, in the Caribbean and South America, we are the only provider for what you see in there. From the certificate to like the masters, right? So in Trinidad and Tobago, there is a place called ATC and OSHEs, but they don't offer the same course. At the same time too, they only offer one. They don't offer the level 4, level 5. They don't offer the level 6, right? They only offer a spin-off to the National General Certificate. It's not the same qualification, right? And in School of Nations in Guyana, they offer a spin-off. What is a spin-off? A spin-off is NEBOSH made a partnership with another entity and they have like a form, FORM, of this qualification. This one here, but it's not the same qualification. It's like a spin-off, right? Like a knockdown version of what the National General Certificate is, right? So when I tell you what I told you before, I know currently there's nobody else offering what, well, nobody else go beyond level 3, right? But if you were contesting level 3, there is a spin-off in Guyana and there's a spin-off qualification in Trinidad, but not the full accredited course. Look at here, find accredited learning partner, not the full accredited course, not the full National General Certificate. There are spin-offs in the region, but just at the certificate level, right? No one else is offering the level 6. No one else right now is offering the level 5 oil and gas. There used to be, those of us in Trinidad, there used to be, to give credit, but I said used to be. There used to be 3 other places in Trinidad. There was a place called Chess, and there was a place called NSAFE. Anybody familiar with them? Chess or NSAFE? Those of us in Trinidad? Chess College? Somebody say yes. Chess is still around, but they're just not offering
Yes.
NEBOSH. Right. Yeah. Chess is kind of still around. Junior Maiden, I know him personally. They're still around, but he has not decided to go through the accreditation. It's a little bit complicated. And then there's NSAFE. Anybody familiar with NSAFE? We should be, those of us in South. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So NSAFE, no fault of theirs. I have the fullest respect for them. I mean, does me, anybody know me, know that, right? They might, that they may, a lot of people do things to, come, like, okay, like where competition is concerned. But those who know me, know, I mean, anybody know me, know that I don't study anybody. I do my work. They don't study me, but I don't study them, right? So anyway, NSAFE no longer offers the program, and that is no fault of them. I had the highest respect for them, and still do, in fact, right? But they had a bad hit in the pandemic, right? Where, they passed away, right? The folks who offered the program got COVID and died, right? And so what happened today is not as if I am special. It may just be because of default. When I say default here, default meaning that today there's nobody else offering the fleet of courses anymore. I'm the only one. When I first got started, I was the new kid on the block. I never thought I would have been the only one. Chess College was the first place to start NEBOSH in Trinidad. They were the leaders in it, right? I never thought when I started more than a decade ago that I would be the only one paddling the waters then. But the good thing about NEBOSH, we don't really have to paddle hard with NEBOSH. NEBOSH is what it is, and it is the #1 brand in health and safety throughout the world anyway, right? So take a look at this, see if you have any questions. I just want to impress the last thing I said there. So if you wonder why NEBOSH, why all the vacancies asking for NEBOSH, why not Cipriani? You ever open my ad and see Cipriani for those of us in Trinidad? You ever open my ad and see Costa? No, you see NEBOSH. And so the thing is why? The reason is that NEBOSH is the #1 brand in health and safety, right? So to explain this to you, I'll make it very simple, right? The world we live in is a world of brands. The bags, those of us who buy in school books and stuff to get back to school, the shoes, the Nikes, the bags. I saw a John Sport bag. Those of us in the region here may know this. A John Sport bag, 1,500 TT dollars for a bag. I didn't buy, right? I was telling, I saw it in sports. $1,500 for a John Sport bag, right? So the world we live in, and we talk about cars, right? Of course, I mean, like, I have a Mazda, right? But it have better brands. It have BMWs, it have Audi, it have Lamborghini, right? So the thing is, like a car is a car, right? So like you could have, like me, I have a Mazda, but then somebody could have, like a Audi, right? Or somebody have like a Lamborghini or a BMW, right? So a car is a car, but the thing is, the person who have that Lamborghini, like they are seen to be, of course, a car, both of them will get you to where you want to go, right? You could, press the start button or turn the key in my case. and you'll get to where you want to go, right? But the thing is, the perception that the Lamborghini is better is always there. And this is what NEBOSH is, right? So there is always the University of Guyana, there's always Costa, there's always Cipriani, but here's what I tell you, the world we live in, I didn't make it, right? I just telling you, the world we live in is a world of brands. If you want to buy a TV today, television, you want to buy a Samsung, right? You wouldn't feel good unless you buy a Samsung. If you come back home with anything as less than a Samsung, they will look at you different. But the both televisions will do the same thing, right? So the world we live in is a world of brands. So what I could tell you is that I didn't make it what it was. I am just telling you that I offer the number one brand in health and safety. So if you're looking for jobs, the jobs are going to ask a NEBOSH. They do not ask a SBCS, those of us in Trinidad. They do not ask for the University of Guyana or the New Guyana School. They don't. They ask for the number one brand, which is the NEBOSH brand. And that is what you have decided to do, right? Take a look at this. I want to take this off and I want to get into like some other things about the school. I may tell you one more thing. I don't know if you have any questions on what we have there. I may tell you one more thing here, which is NEBOSH is located in the UK. I am heading up to the UK in December. I will take some pictures and send back for you all. I'll give you some of my experiences as well. And they are located in a place called Leicestershire. So they're not in London. And Leicester is sort of far from London. You have to travel with about three separate trains, right? To get to Leicester. If you're into football, please take this down. I'll tell you why in a bit. If you're into football, you may be familiar with Manchester, right? But Leicester is also very happy and very prideful with their football, right? A student is just now here. He told me he came back from Bradford. He just left here, right? He was here just before you all, right? He came back from Bradford. So remember, that is what NEBOSH could do for you. You could work here. You could work in Guyana, you could work in England, you could work in Dubai. And I'll tell you some stories of my students. I can just tell you one, but it have more behind it. It have like how much they're working for. You'll be surprised to know how much they're working for. But hopefully I can show you and not just tell you when we come to that, right? Anyway, let's get back to Leicester. Let's get back to Leicester. But so what is the point in telling you Leicester or Leicestershire is that is where your papers are going to be marked. It's not coming from Trinidad. I told you that before. We are not printing certificates in the office and posting it to Guyana. Your certificate is the real deal. That's what I tried to tell you, right? When you have it, right? And yesterday, well, they normally come into DHL. Look, I have them here. I put them close to me for a reason. I wanted to show you all them. A whole batch came. This is a batch for Guyana, as you can see. Let me just show you one from it. This is my previous class of students. So this is the real certificate. I wouldn't be able to show you the whole certificate because we have to keep it. Yeah, there's a number and we have to keep it confidential. So I'll block the number off. This is the real NEBOSH certificate. That is globally recognized. That's the student, but I can't show you to the bottom here. I'm blocking it off, right? And it's a whole packet of certificate. You all saw that. It's a whole packet of certificates. This is just for Guyana alone. I have a whole Christmas bag by my foot here. I'll show you the Christmas bag. This is full of certificates, right? So that is to tell you that people are passing the qualification. I'll talk about that in a bit. And like I said, like the world is yours once you have it. And it's very easy to get. But the thing is, it's not free. Please take a note of that. Your paper is going to Leicester for correcting. And if you're good enough and your paper is good enough, you'll pass. But it's not free, right? If we talk about a Lamborghini or an Audi or a BMW being the top brand, it's not free either. Somebody had to work for that. And you had to work for this one too. But you don't have to work overly hard, but you have to work, right? I'll say that again. You don't have to work, like you're working for a degree. No, this is not that. This is a certificate. You have to work hard, but not very hard. Hard enough, but not excessively hard. One day is the exam. 8 questions is your questions. You just get those questions correct and you pass. right? So do we have any questions? Yeah, I kind of want to go into that feeder, but now I want to go into the part about exam and stuff now. Take a look at this, see if you understand. See if you understand why you are here. And if you just stumble in here, very good. If you just stumble onto NEBOSH and you didn't know, you saw it on Facebook, and you say I should do NEBOSH, but you didn't know what it was. You didn't know, wait now, this is the number one brand, not number two, not number three. It have real top brands out there. I don't know if you all know that. University of Oxford, right? University of what about Cambridge? We say NEBOSH is the number one brand. And watch how much people get in it, right? We're not talking about the local universities. Are using Cambridge. Cambridge is a top university. Cambridge and Oxford. But NEBOSH is the number one brand, higher than them. Is the number one brand in safety, right? Folks, let me get a question from you now, and I will take it from there. I try to rest my voice a bit. While you're thinking, right? While you're thinking now, so I had sent you all an email. You all know, I mean, like anyway, I shouldn't say it, but you all know we have other lecturers at the school, right? But like I choose my classes sometimes, and I have chosen to take you all, right? We have oil and gas lecturers, we have other lecturers at the institute anyway. We have part-time lecturers, we have lecturers on short courses, right? But normally when I take a class, I take a class, but I wanted to keep something in mind that I am sometimes away from the country, right? I've just mentioned that to you all. Like I met some of you all in Guyana, right? So I go to Guyana, I go to Grenada, I go to the UK regularly, and I am going in every month. So sometimes that affect our classes, like it affect one Saturday or so. So just to let you know, the first Saturday in September, next week Saturday is a holiday, I believe, right? Yes, everybody? But I want to have class next Saturday. Now I know you're home, or kind of home, right? We record it in case you can't make it. We record it and we'll put it up on the WhatsApp group for you. But I want to have class next week, Saturday, because the following Saturday, I am actually in Grenada on a job, right? So the choice was to give you next week, Saturday off anyway, or have, but if we have class on Saturday, we'll make it for the Saturday when I'm not here, right? So I'll have, you're not the only class. I have 3 classes on Saturday, but I'm canceling the other 2. But I want to have you all next week, Saturday, right? So I'll message you. Let's just say hour and a half, folks. You have the whole day for yourself again, after that class anyway, right? Do we have any questions on what I have here? You all understand who NEBOSH is? You understand where they are? You understand who we are in terms of offering the range of qualifications? And if you don't have any questions, let me check on the chat. Okay, somebody getting some issues with their laptop, right? So during we record everything. Yeah, so in a way, okay, so for Anisha Broom, right? In a way, yes. So Anisha Broom question was, in a way, you're paying for the brand. Well, yes, it's like, it's like you're buying a shoe, right? But so you want, I guess for the male, I'm not too sure what is the top brand for ladies' shoes, right? I'm not too familiar, but I know, I guess, like the Louis Vuitton, I think that's your bags, or the Kate Spade, that's your bags and stuff for the ladies as well, right? So if you have a choice to buy a Kate Spade bag or just buy, I guess Mary's bag, so in a way that's a good living, right? It's like, folks, I mean, those of us in Trinidad, do you all remember KFC and the competition they had with Japs? You remember that thing with Japs and KFC? For those of us who don't know it, Japs had come to the mall in Gulf City, and they used to have so many people going to Japs, right? But eventually, after 1 month, people realized Japs is not KFC. You remember that? Japs had to Japs leave the mall now. Japs line used to be the longest, JAPS, right? Japs, the longest line. But you see, there is something about brands. Like, paying for the brand is one thing, but then you see, it must have a reason why a brand is a brand. It must have a reason why a Jordans is a Jordans then. It must have a reason why a Nike is a Nike, or a Kate Spade is a Kate Spade. The thing is, it good. That's one of the reasons why you're paying for it, right? And that's the world we live in. Again, I didn't create Nike and I didn't create NEBOSH. I just telling you, the person selling KFC in the mall, they know what they're doing because they get involved with KFC in terms of that branding then, right? What about Starbucks, right? What about Starbucks? Would you just stop anywhere and buy a slushy or a coffee, but you have the money to buy Starbucks, right? So if you had the money to buy $35, $45 TT anyway to buy, you'd buy the Starbucks, right? So one of the things you'd realize, like if you compare it with rituals, now rituals do have some good drinks, but you compare the taste of something from rituals to the taste in Starbucks. So in a way, you're paying for the brand, but again, to the quality is different. And hopefully you understand that's the world we live in. We didn't create the fire, as they say. We met it burning. And to offer you or to make you or to get you in a position to become a safety, the vacancies are asking for NEBOSH. So why would we, like if I stop, right, then there's nobody else in the Caribbean. That's what I told you, right? But the vacancy is not asking for Costa. So then who's going to offer the NEBOSH? Yeah. So the world we live in is a world of brand, and that's just how it is. We just have to know that it also means quality, right? Just think about the clothes you have on, right? You know, like you're going to buy, you know, a lot of people say they're going to buy stuff in Pennywise, but is the brand you're going for, right? You're going to buy, you know, and I'm not going to call anything, but you're going to buy, you know, like your perfumes, your deodorants, you know, so it is what it is, and it is what we live in. And that's why I say the world we live in is a world of brands, right? I wouldn't take back that statement. The world we live in is a world of brands, and that's just the fact of it, right? Two things in the chat. Hopefully these are questions. If you could let us know, right? Okay, good question, Avinash. After the level 3, do we have to do level 4 or 5? You don't have to do anything. The level 3 would qualify you to be a safety. I am saying get your foot in the door, but I am an institute I represent the Shadrach Safety. So like when we have level 4 starting, I would let you all know. Now, we're not telling you to do it because remember, it's money. The level 4 cheaper than this. All those other courses, actually the oil and gas is a bit more expensive, right? The oil and gas is 8,000. The level 4 is 5,000, right? But if that is your career path, if you get into a job with the level 3, and they say, wait now, you know, I like the safety thing. You know, I think I want to make a career in this. I want to become a safety manager. Well, you could go up the line, but we don't, you know, like we would just tell you what is on the market. If you want to do it, you do it. If you don't want to do it, you don't do it, right? The thing is, though, we don't ever have space for everybody. Currently, my oil and gas list, full. Currently, my diploma class, full, right? So when you want to, like, when you see it advertised, do it because it doesn't have space for everybody anyway, right? But the answer to that is no. You do what you want to do and you go at your pace. The one thing that you need to do, though, to become a safety is the level 3, right? That'll put your foot in the door, and from there, you can take it from there anyway, right? Kendon says he wants to do all. Let's hope you pass as we get to that level anyway. One of the hardest things to pass, though, Kendon, right, is the level 3. The level 4 is multiple choice. The level 5 is a written exam. The level 6 is an open book exam. And the level 3 is also an open book exam. What makes it kind of hard to pass? Now, I can define that. When I say hard for some people, right? In Guyana, we have been having 100% passes. The last class, as you saw from the packet here, was 97% passes. There are some things that people don't do. I don't have time to go through all the stories with you. But to pass the level 3, there's a project, right? And there are some people that don't hand up the project. If you don't hand it up, you can't pass, right? So let's kind of go into that. I want to change the view here for you all a bit. If you have any more questions, please unmute your mic and let me know because I wouldn't go back and check too much in the chat until the end, right? So this is actually your first PowerPoint, but I'm going to use it to write some stuff on. This is a picture I took. I took this picture when I was in the UK more than a decade ago, right? This picture is a picture of IOSH. If you look through here and you blow this picture up, you see IOSH. IOSH and NEBOSH was on the same compound when I was there, and actually they are like They are the owners of NEBOSH, or they were the founders of NEBOSH in 1979. No, I wasn't wrong, right? I wasn't, but Ayash founded NEBOSH in 1979. So for Anisha Brooms, yes, the risk assessment is 1 day, the accident investigation is 1 day, the environmental award, I have some to the back of me, is 1 day. But if we do it on Zoom, when we say 1 day, we used to do them like whole day then, right? But if you do it on Zoom, it may take you about 3, 4 sessions on Zoom, right? So the NEBOSH risk assessment is 1 day. I may have one in November, folks. My schedule is very tight. Like I said, October I am in Grenada for a week. Sorry, no, September I'm in October for I'm in Grenada for a week. October I'm in Grenada and Guyana. November I'm in Guyana. December I am in London, right? So I think November I have like a week I can start one of those shorter courses. But ideally, that's my schedule anyway. If you want me to be your lecturer, that's my schedule. Now, the thing is, we do some of them in the night, like in the evening, right? So 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., we could fit in one. Also, because it's online, wherever I am at, once I'm not teaching, I could log on from Guyana, Grenada, or the UK and still conduct the session, right? So it doesn't affect us too much. It has not affected us too much for the year so far anyway, right? Folks, let's talk about the exam a bit. So please keep on writing. Any questions?
Excuse me, sir. It have
Yes.
a certificate for JSA.
No, the JSA is inside of the risk assessment.
Okay.
A risk assessment is ideally, uh, like a risk, a JSA. If you assess the risk in it, it becomes a task-based risk assessment. But as you all say that, I don't know if I could write something else. I was going to talk about something else, but you all know Shadrach Safety is registered with the Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago. That's ACTT for those of us in the region. And what it means is that we could issue certificates. So you all may have been seeing, we have been having lots of Firewatch courses, confined spaces courses. So look, I have a whole pack right here now. I don't have to go far. These are Firewatch certificates from Thursday night. We did it on Zoom, right? And we do a lot of short courses like this as well. It's going to be cheaper for you in that I took out my shoes, right? Speaking of brands, anyway, you know that shoe in Panama. If you're cheap, that shoes is in Panama, yeah? But Trinidad here, Lord. Anyway, Panama, Suriname, that shoes is a couple hundred TT dollars here, right, folks? Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so it's going to be cheaper if you do a course, like if you do like a 1 day JSA, because it's like $500. Now, why is it cheaper? Because we don't have any royalties to pay to NEBOSH, right? So, as I said, we do lots of certificates. We do confined space, banksman, scaffolding, defensive driving, right? And those certificates are all priced at like 525 TT dollars, right? Those, because we issue them from here, it's like we issuing a certificate. So we don't have any royalties then to pay to our UK counterpart. So the prices are cheaper. I think next week we may be doing a banksman, or in fact, as you mentioned, JSA. I think the coordinators had in mind. I'm looking at the board. I think they were going to do JSA next week, Thursday night, like from 6 to about 7:30. You can get a JSA training course done, right? But let me confirm with them during the day. As you know, nobody else is here. And I'll let you know if anybody's interested in a 1 day JSA course, right? 525, you can get it. Like this, the certificates I showed you here. So you get it like Saturday, you do the course Thursday, and by Saturday, the certs are prepared for you, right? All right, so let's talk about what we're going to talk about still, right? And so I was going to mention to you, to pass the NEBOSH, there are 2 exams. Well, really 2 things you have to do, really not 2 exams. Exactly 1 exam. So I'll put you 2 assessments, but I guess you'll have to wait until I write to the word assessment, right? Right, so 2 assessments. Can I just put assess, right? And with MENTS, so 2 assessments. So one of them is an open book exam. We're going to take a look at a paper now, soon as I finish this, right? One is an open book exam. I'll explain that to you as the course go along, right? The other, well, this same open book exam, the pass mark is only 45. So to pass, you have to get 45. There's a little catch with it. I'll discuss what that catch is just now. I'll discuss the catch on the paper itself. I'll show you a paper just now, right? So the other thing to do to get this certificate, what certificate? The same certificates I was holding in my hand. Let me show you another one. This is an incident. The NEBOSH have incident investigation sales, right? I can't show you the person name either, right? But the course we are doing, right? The course we are doing the National General Certificate. To get that one, you have to pass the open book exam and you have to pass, well, something called a project, but we call it a risk assessment. You have to pass a risk assessment, right? So what I'm saying is that if you don't hand up the RA, you cannot get the cert. To pass, you have to pass the open book exam and you have to pass the RA. Once you pass both of those, they will send for you, like in these packets you're seeing here, they will send for you your NEBOSH certificate from the UK itself, right? At which time you come to the office and you pick it up and you're good for life there, right? Tell me if you're okay with this. So the open book exam, if you can chat on it a bit more, it's 24 hours you have to do it. And it's not a lot of questions. Sometimes 8 questions, sometimes 7 questions, sometimes 9 questions, sometimes 6 questions. It kind of fluctuates, but around 8 questions, right? They are not very long questions. We're going to see how it is now. So I guess you could be asking yourself, how it is people feeling? That's a question I ask myself too, right? It's not hard, right? Or before we move on here, folks, 2 books come with your price. Please take note of what I'm telling you. 2 textbooks come with your price. You don't have to pay anything more. The price we are charging you, as you all know, we are still the cheapest. Huh? I have been around the longest, and I was always the cheapest. I wouldn't say cheap. Let me say economical. Cheap sounds bad. 10 years ago, my NEBOSH was 5,000 TT dollars. Other places was 7,000. 10 years after, I am now 7, and they are like 9,000, right? I am still the most economical. The pass rates is still the highest. Who said that? Not me. NEBOSH said that. I could show you that, but I'll show you that another day. It's on the NEBOSH page. NEBOSH ranked the providers in the region, like which is the top one. And Shadrach is not the first letter in the alphabet, but we has always come out on top. For the last 10 years, we always on top. The list is in order of who is on top. It's not in alphabetical order, right? If it was in alphabetical order, those of us in Trinidad, ATC would have been on top. It's not. It's who is the top provider, who is the best provider. We didn't do that for ourselves. That is an audit they did on us. Every 2 years they do an audit, and every 2 years for the last decade and more, we have been coming out on top. That really have something to do with you as well. Huh? That don't even have to do with me. That have to do with the students passing, right? I told you before, 2022 Guyana, 100% passes, 100% passes, right? Trinidad, February this year, 97% passes, right? So, you do that, really not me. I do my part, and if you do your part, when everything goes well, and everything is well, once you do what you have to do, right? So this year I want to tell you 2 books come at your price. However, as you all may know, and if you don't know, I'm going to tell you, I cannot order the books as yet until September. Anybody could say why? So I cannot order the books. You all paid last week. Some of you all paid last week. Some of you all paying today. But I can't order the books yet. Anybody could say why?
Probably when more funds coming.
No, foreign exchange. The books is a foreign purchase. Businesses limited to the amount we could purchase, right? Is that a wait until the month roll over, right? So I have your monies, but we can't do anything with it, right? Those of us who maybe, if this video makes it to YouTube, they may wonder what we're talking about. But in Trinidad and Tobago, the government has limited how much foreign purchases you can buy. Even though I'm not buying, equipment or cars, books is from England. So it is counted as a foreign purchase, right? So that's the reason why your books will probably come about 2 weeks late. However, we would normally run with the class notes. When you get your book, you would see the book notes is what I took and I made the PowerPoint here, right? So you're entitled to your 2 brand new textbooks, not copies, two brand, look, we have them here. I think I showed some of you, like when you came to the office, look, this one here. This is for a guy called Brian, right? So it's brand new textbooks. It's not copied books, right? And we get them straight from the UK, but because of the foreign exchange restriction on businesses in the country, we cannot purchase more than what we have already purchased, right? Anyway, so taking this off, let's go have a look at the paper. Anybody want to tell me your thoughts on the 45? What you think about that 45? Good? Yeah?
I have a question.
Yes, good?
No, it's not about the 45. It's about the risk assessment. Is it done in person or it's
No,
done online as well?
okay, so that's a nice question, right? So the way of testing today is because of the pandemic. And you can do the risk assessment from home. You don't have to go you don't have to go anywhere. If you want to write a little bit more on this, just to make it easier for you, NEBOSH will give you a sample, or I would give you a sample. It's the same sample. When I mean NEBOSH will give you a sample, I will give you the sample. I was telling you all at the top of the hour, if you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, I will see it. I will see your subscription. The project is already on YouTube. You can see it for yourself if you want to have a look at it, right? So I'm trying to make it, okay, so what this sample is, right? You are given a sample and you're given a blank set of forms. You just have to watch the sample and fill out the blank form. You don't really have to go anywhere. You could do it from home. You understand that, folks? You don't have to go to Atlantic. Those of us in Guyana, you don't have to go down to Gisby or Exxon. Some of you all may be there anyway, right? But even if you go there, you have to type up your sheets anyway. So you have to sit down back by your computer and type anyway, right? And the project is it's like a checklist. I don't know if you want to take a note of that. So if you wonder what is a checklist normally have a left-hand side and a right-hand side. The project is like a checklist. Please take a little note of this long. I'll just do 2 here for you. If you can squeeze in 3, I'll squeeze in 3. The project is some sheets like this. I could fit 3 things here, right? So on the left-hand side, they have the name of the organization. So you just put the name of the organization. You could make up a name. Folks, it's not hard. You could put KC Construction Limited, Jacobs and Sons Manufacturing Limited, AR, like Avinash, right? AR Fabrication. It don't matter, people. You hear what I'm telling you? You can sit up home and do this project, right? The next thing, this is the real thing I'm telling you here, Only thing is not the proper sheets. The first thing you put the name of the company. Those of us in Guyana, you could put Bakewell, you could put Ram's Puri Shop. In Trinidad, we will say Ram's Roti Shop, right? In England, they may say roti shop in England. Yeah, they say roti in England. Yeah, all right. Anyway, so you put the name. The next thing you want to put here, you want to put where is the company located. You could put Berbice, Guyana. You could put Santa Flora, Trinidad. You could put Lawton Village, Point Fortin, Trinidad. It don't matter. You could put Chaguanas. You put Freeport. You put St. John Trace, Aruka. It don't matter. You just filling it out. You understand? The project is a checklist. So I wonder why some people don't do this. As I told you, I wonder the same thing too. Right? Now, I have actually come up with a theory for that. I've come up with a theory as to why some people don't hand up a project. And you want to hear what the theory is? You want to hear what the theory is? I feel some people like me. I feel some people like you just want to leave money with me, which is good. Like some people may go into sports and games and buy a $2,200 shoe, I'd probably leave the money there and just leave the shoes there too. So it made me have people like that. But hopefully you're not like that, right? Hopefully what you pay for is what you want to get, right? So if you wonder why I say hand up the project, is because we check it. We check it for a draft. You understand, folks? What I'm telling you, remember where it's going to mark? Anybody remember? Where is the project going to mark? Tell me where the project going to mark.
In England.
In England.
UK.
So you don't think you should let the teacher and them vet it first? And like check it out first? Now remember, I just put in 3 things here, but I have other things, right? So those who get it checked out, look, folks, it had somebody, right? I can show you this on my phone. It had a student, I check her project, and NEBOSH failed the girl. You know what I told her? I told her you didn't fail. And I inquired of NEBOSH. Yeah, NEBOSH is not gods, people. NEBOSH is human beings, right? They made a mistake. They made a mistake. I tell you, you cannot fail, right? If they ask you for name and you put name, if they ask you for location and you put location, how it is you can fail, right? I have it here, but as we are recording, I don't feel to show you it, right? NEBOSH actually issued an apology to the student and passed her, because I know what I'm doing. Remember how much years I tell you I'm doing it for, right? I am not a mechanic. I have good mechanics. I am not a plumber. I'm not an electrician, but a good one will know what they're doing. And I know what I'm doing for years now, which is why the school is where it is. So you cannot tell me that somebody say that I check a project and the person failed. That's not possible. The examiner made a mistake, and the student doubted me, Last night she sent me a message last night, and she said, it's only last night she checked back what I did and what I told her, and she said she appreciated it. Maybe I could read that for you. I can show you there's the outcome of it. I don't know if you can see it. Sorry. Hi, sir. Finally got a chance to read your message. I understand what the message say. Thanks so much for pursuing the case. I really appreciated it. You see, I know she couldn't fail. How are you going to fail? If I tell you name, location, and I tell you the whole project is like that. So if you do that, how it is you're going to fail, right? NEBOSH told her that she didn't pass by. I said, no, I pursued it for her. I said, that cannot be. She didn't believe me, but I know what I'm doing. And hopefully that's why you're here. So you can pass as well, right? Third thing here, name, location. The next thing they want is name, location. They want how many workers working there. How many workers, number of workers. How you can get that wrong? Number of workers. So you put the name of the company, XYZ Construction. By the way, that's correct, They can't give you that wrong. XYZ is correct. Location. You put where I grew up. You put Carapal Road, Erin. If anybody know where that is, that's past Paliseco. If you even know where Paliseco is. Paliseco is past Santa Clara. Santa Clara is past Siparia or Siparia for the more educated people, right? Number of workers. You put 20, right? You cannot get it wrong. No, nobody in the world could tell me that is wrong, right? So the only thing we ask for you all is that is a deadline for the project. You all hand it up, we will check it, we'll give it back to you. If I see something to fix, I'll tell you fix it. Because I want you to pass, right? The thing is, do you want to pass? Now, I know you want to pass, but remember what I tell you, you had to work. You had to work. It's not hard work we're doing. We're not cutting grass, right? It's not hard work, but it's not free. You see, you can't leave it out and expect to pass because at the end of the day, I'm not marking it. And that's why you all here. See, if I was marking it, but then we come back to like Costat, or we come back to the New Guyana school, or we come back to the University of Guyana, we come back to a local perspective then, but you all don't want that. The vacancies don't want that either. The vacancies want NEBOSH. So let's get the NEBOSH. It's not hard. It's not hard, right? All right, folks, I'm taking that off. I want to show you a paper. Yes, go ahead.
The risk assessment that you was now showing, or the example, you have to identify hazards and everything within that?
Yeah, 10 hazards. I'll show you where to get the 10 to.
And
I would tell you the 10 to use too.
I have an understanding,
Yeah. It's not hard enough. It's a table. The hazards is like noise, manual hand. I would actually tell you the hazard, folks. The only thing
All
is,
depends
you
on
see,
the environment that you put the place of work.
any place of work will do. They don't really check that. Remember, your people going to England for marking. Just because you don't know where Leicester is, they might know where Santa Flora is. They might know where Freeport is. It don't matter. But once you put Freeport, you're getting it correct. Once you put Chagones, you're getting it correct. Once you put Macoya, once you put where's this place? It have Trinidad and Guyana have some similar places in name, right? Like Monrepo. Monrepo is a place in San Fernando, but Monrepo is also a place in Guyana as well. Right? So you can put Monrepo Guyana, you can put Monrepo San Fernando, Trinidad. You still get it correct. You cannot get it wrong. Okay, any more questions? Let's have a look at the paper. And remember, I told you there's a little catch. I had drawn. Yeah, it's fair enough. I mean, folks, in the pandemic, you all, I mean, it's much easier to pass now than it was before the pandemic, right? Let me see what happened. It looked like I opened too much of screens this morning, right? Give me a minute. I'll show you. Let me see what I did with it. Okay, here what I'll do, right? I actually have somebody paper here. This is a student from Guyana. As I had, like normally Zoom only allows 4 things on their screen then at a time, right? So I sort of struggling now to see. Okay, so I'll show you the student paper then, right? Because I'm not actually seeing the exam paper. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 6 things open. Zoom wouldn't share so much of the same time. Tell me when you're seeing, you'll see the paper mark NEBOSH Management of Health and Safety. Tell me if you're seeing that. Yes, okay, very good. Thanks there, Kendall, right? Yeah, okay, thanks again, right? So this is a student's paper. She passed. Now she is in Guyana. I think she is working for, I can't remember the company, but she is working as a safety and quality person today. Janelle Lewis, if anybody know her, right? Name of the school, of course, Shadrach Safety Institute Company Limited. It doesn't matter if you're in Grenada, Guyana, Trinidad. That's the list. That's the name of the accredited learning partner, right? So she got 70 something. Let's take a look at the paper, right? So while you're taking a look at the questions, I may want to actually open my question paper for you, right? But look at the length of writing, right? Look at the length of writing. So you're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the reason why I had put, when I put it 45, I put an asterisk by the 45, right? There was, that is to tell you something, right? So how NEBOSH mark, how they mark, right? To get the 45, you have to get 45 things correct. So 45 marks is the pass mark, right? 45 mark is the pass mark. So to get the 45, the style of writing for this exam is not like essay writing. It's kind of like point form, right? And this question would have been a 10-mark question. So that's why she put 10 points, right? So for every point you get correct, they'll give you 1 mark. So if she got all of this correct, she would have gotten 10 marks. She would need 35 again to pass. Think you understand that, folks? In other words, then don't write like an essay. Do not write like that. Point form is good. In fact, not just good. Point form is what they want. They wanted to write it in point form or the numbered format then, right? And if you look at the length of each answer, it's not very long. It's about 3 to 4 lines. Some of them will be 3, some of them may be 4. So that cannot be hard to do. Think you understand? I have one more thing to show you, but I'm going to have some more things to show you today, right? So we'll go down a bit with this one. I think I have to, let me see if I could clean. Yeah, Zoom does, we have to clean that in order for the thing to go down, right? So I may have to clean that slide there now for the slide to proceed downwards, right? So let's take a look at another one. Should be able to go now. right? Like our number 2 emergency procedures, you see the same format. I guess that was a 5-mark question, so you see 5 points, right? If you put 2, you could never get five marks then, right? And so this is generally in Guyana. I had another student in Guyana. She passed now. I wouldn't call her name. I mean, I wouldn't call her name, right? But her problem at first was that she would put less answers. So like she would write a paper and she would get 30 points and then couldn't understand why she was failing, right? When I looked at it, remember the papers are sent to the UK, right? So she sent me like a copy of it. When I looked at it, she was putting like 3 answers. So if something was 10 marks, she was putting 3 answers. So what she put was correct, but it wasn't enough to pass the question. So it was like 3 out of 10, right? So all she had to do was increase the number of answers that she put, and then she was able to pass, right? Let's stop at one of these. I'll stop at let me take a stop at a good one. A good easy one is number 7. Number 7 is on something called safety culture. So even though today is not teaching, what is safety culture, right? Safety culture is like what happens in your company. Culture could be good or bad, right? Culture could be good or bad. Like there are some companies have a very good culture. There are some companies, like when you drive up, the sign says PPE beyond this point, but nobody is wearing it. You see vehicles speeding, you see men smoking, you see people cursing, right? But we say cussing in Trinidad here, right? So there are things there are signs then. When I say signs, like you could actually sit down there and say, but wait now, this company crazy, right? So this is what this question is asking. The question was asking here about maybe 15. They wanted negative indicators on the company. Now, with the open book exam, you are given a passage. And if you want to take that down, we call it a case study, a 2-page case study. I'll show you one just now. Just had to go back and find one, right? You are given a 2-page case study. And now I want you all to write this down. Remember I told you today, you see, next week is going to be a holiday, of course, but next week is going to be in Trinidad. Next week, we're going to hit the ground running. We're going to start teaching one time. So I wanted to get as much as you can get today then, right? We almost finished. We have 20 minutes again to go, right? So if I was to break down this exam for you in my way, I could describe this exam for you. When I said this, all NEBOSH exam, not this one we're looking at in general, all NEBOSH exams is like a comprehension. Do you all remember doing comprehension in primary school? Do you all remember doing comprehension in secondary school? So why is it I want you to write the word comprehension there, right? So I'll just make up one. So if you read a comprehension, they say John and Jimmy was at the river where Jimmy fell, right? He slipped on some rocks and broke his wrist. Then the question asks, who was at the river? Now, the point I'm trying to tell you here is to get the answer, you'd have to go back to the comprehension. John and Jimmy was at the river. You say, why did he fall? You say he fell because he slipped on some rocks and broke his wrist, right? So that may be a simple example for you, but that is your exam format. I'll say it one more time, because that is the exam format. And I don't know if you get it, because if you get it, it means there are some other things that are some knockdown things that could happen. Right? Let me try to tell you some of the knockdown things, right? So some of the knockdown things, if that's the case, then it means I don't really have to study. Because if you ask where is John and Jimmy, but the answer is in the case study, then I don't have to study. I can just read the case study. And that is true. That's what I'm telling you. That's why the exam is called an open book exam. Folks, you all understanding this a bit? Folks, are you all understanding? Another thing, what should dawn on you Another thing that should dawn on you is that, but then what Sir trying to say is that the answer is not in the book because John and Jimmy not in the book, right? If they ask how did John fell, let's say John who fall, right? The book do have that. The book have all the topics, but the book do have how John fall, right? So read this with me. Read what she have here. She have here a negative indicator of safety culture is lack of trained staff, which is evident with a very short induction given to the apprentice when he was employed. Now, where did that come from? That didn't come from the textbook. You understand? Where is she getting this thing about like it had a short induction for the apprentice? Where do you think she getting that from?
In the passage.
In the passage. Folks, you'll understand how easy this exam is? Okay, let me break it down for you. Let me break it down for you, right? I said comprehension before, right? Here how to think of this, right? Most of your answers in the passage. That's it. Most of the answers in the passage. Where are you going to get 15 indicators from? They give you a passage. Let's read the second one, right? A negative indicator of health and safety culture is a lack of trained staff, which is evident when a false alarm occurred. Now, where did that come from? That come from the passage. The sales supervisor had assumed the role of fire marshal, and although untrained, where is that coming from? That's coming from the passage. That's why it's called an open book exam. You cannot really copy. You don't need to copy nothing in the book. All the answers in the passage. Tell me if you're understanding that. The only thing I tell us, the only thing some people don't do, they don't give them, like if this was a 20-mark question, you had to give them 20. If it's a 15-mark question, you had to give them 15. If it's a 10-mark question, you had to give them 10. Let's see how much this was. You see how this goes more than 10? No, that's good. That is good. What this is 20 things from the passage. The pass mark people is 45. When you do this one question, you almost pass. You do this one and you want on top like 30 marks. Let's read first to last. Let's see the last answer. Let's see if she have anything from the textbook. Right? Let's see if the book is that important. By the way, you're entitled to your book. I'll tell you that, right? Your book. You'll get your book. It's your textbook. Why you think Brian leave his book here? Some people leave their book, but your book is yours, right? Your book is yours. This is the only class. This is a June class. Them leave their textbooks here. I don't know why. But you see, in a way, he will come for it. Brian actually was in Scotland, a long story there. But the thing is, right, your book, you had to get away from that mentality. Like with this course, some people will say, okay, well, what am I going to study? You're not actually going to study. You're actually going to do a comprehension. If you want to study, great, good for you. But they're not going to help you. If you quote anything from the book, it'll be wrong because they didn't ask you nothing in the book. They asked you something about this company here. What was the negative indicators? Let's read the last one. A negative indicator of health and safety culture is no compliance with safety regulations, which is evident when the sales supervisor stated that there was no need for frequent fire drills, although there is the compliance obligation to inform, check, learn, and improve through such drills, right? So where's Janelle getting this from? She's getting the fact that the sales supervisor stated there's no need for fire drills. That is coming from the passage, right? So before I close off today, let me just end this by giving you the format for a good answer. Yes, there's a format here. How do you think Janelle know what to do, right? So there's a format. A format for a good answer is this. Please take this down. You can write the word comprehension there for me. Right?
So the PEE principle is what they would use to really give an answer.
You can tell me what that stands for and your...
Well, the point, evidence, and explanation.
Could be. Well, in fact, it's just two things, right? For most responses, I can put it here for you. Most responses have two things in it. I'll show you what it have in it. So if you want to put a good answer, most responses have two things in it. The first thing it have is it have like what you think would have been a negative indicator. If you read this, you'll see it. Watch it here. Like the presence of peer groups. This one have no compliance or safety rules. This one have no accident investigation, right? So it have this subject matter then, like what is the negative indicator? So we refer to that as the answer. It have the answer, like what is the negative safety indicator? Workers not wearing PPE. What's the negative safety indicator? They place in a mess, poor housekeeping. So it have the answer. And the second thing it have a link to some lines from the passage. If you have that, it have a link to some lines. We call this supporting lines, and it have like a link to supporting lines on the passage. If you have this, you will get that correct, but that particular response correct. You will get the 1 mark that is for that then, right? The supporting lines, once you have that format, you'll get it correct. Let me do one for you. I'm going to make up one for you. Right? I'm just going to assume it's another company, right? So if you go to a company and let's say as you enter, there is no security guard, you don't know where to park, right? So you can say a negative safety indicator is a lack of security guards. And the only thing you have to do in the passage is to go and find it where it was said that there is no security guard. You have to find somewhere where it was mentioned, like the company has said that they would not invest in security. And they just say, as stated in this scenario, or this could be seen where there was no security guards. See how simple? And if you do that 10 times, 20 times, 15 times, you would go on to pass your exam. That's it. Nothing harder than that. All right. So let me see if I could actually find a paper. We finished a bit early, right? I have to go back to my main screen. If I could find a paper, I'll open one and I'll show you one, right? Look, I found one already. I found plenty, in fact, right? Let me just show you a real paper. Give me a minute, it'll come up on your view just now. I'll have to open and then share it as it wasn't, remember the Zoom screen fell already, so I have to go back and share it, right? You should be seeing it in the next couple of seconds. So this is a real exam paper. Tell me when you're seeing it. This is NEBOSH. Management of Health and Safety should be at the top again. Yeah, I have Avinash, I have Kendall on screen. Anybody else? Are you all seeing it? I have Tiffany. Yeah, okay, thanks, Al Jerome. Okay, so let's go down with it and see. First of all, let's see. So I'll have to read all of this for you, but remember today's just orientation, right? In general, 1 mark is given for each correct technical point that is clearly demonstrated. That's why you need to put 10 for 10. Avoid writing too little. So 1 line is not good enough, but 3 lines is good enough, right? As this would make it difficult for the examiner to award marks. Single word answers or lists are unlikely to gain marks, as these would not normally be enough to show an understanding or a connection, which is the link with the scenario, right? So the case study is not very long. It's just 2 pages. It's just 2 pages, folks. You all did longer comprehensions for that when you was in primary school. When you're going to write SEA students just do more than that. More or less for CXC English. CXC English is to have some very long, 10 pages of case study. It's not 10 pages, people, it's 2 pages. Watch it again. I picked this paper at random. I could pick another one too. And over the next 5 months, I'll be choosing papers, of course, right? So 1 page, 2 pages, right? Let's see how much questions. 1 question, 2 questions, 3 questions, 4 questions. You have 24 hours to do these. Not 2 hours, 24 hours, right? 7 questions. If you give yourself an hour to do a question, this should take you 7 hours to do. But people, hear what? It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Watch it here. Watch a culture question here again. What appears to be the negative indicators of health and safety culture in this scientific research organization? 15 marks. You should support your answer where applicable using relevant information from the scenario. People, you could do that today. That not taking you an hour to do. We just have to go to the passage and get 15 negative things. But you have to put it the proper way, right? You have to say, like, in my opinion, a negative indicator is a lack of supervision. You give the answer first, and then you say, this is seen where there was no supervisor present, and that answer is done. You do that 14 more times, and question 3 is done. Let's try one now. We have 8 minutes, and I'm not necessarily anyway. So now I wouldn't have time to read all of this, right? But we use a technique. We could use a technique called fishing. We could just scan it through then and see if we could find something negative, right? Let's see. I'll just read it up. A scientific research organization employs 150 people. Most of them are scientists or technicians. The remainder of the staff work in finance, human resources. Okay, so that's not very helpful, right? Remember, we're looking for things that are negative, right? So let's go down. Okay. The organization had limited experience in managing health and safety risks, and those specific risks associated with laboratory facilities and the refurbishment of the newly purchased warehouse, right? So you can use that. You can say a negative indicator is that the company lacked experience, or they didn't have like a specialist, to manage health and safety. Full stop. Then you say, this is seen where it was mentioned, and you could put it in inverted commas, the organization has limited experience in managing health and safety. It have more in it. The first one I get, I just use it, right? As you read, you'll find more. Watch it here. Watch one here. Folks, how hard is this? No general health and safety awareness training is provided. So you tell me what's the answer. Tell me what's the answer. And we are do this yet. By the way, this is chapter 3. Culture is chapter 3. But I showing you how you don't have to wait to chapter 3 to understand how to do this paper and pass this paper. Somebody tell me what the answer would look like. What is the first thing you have to say? I don't show you the format for the exam already. What's the first thing you have to say? You have to say what? A negative safety indicator is what?
General health and safety awareness training was provided.
Right, very good, right? You can say it in your own words. You can say a negative safety indicator is that there's a lack of training. Full stop. Full stop. And then you said, this is seen in the case study where it was mentioned there was no general health and safety training provided. Folks, remember that I told you the formatter, don't forget the formatter. The format must have an answer and it must have the line. Right? You see, if you put the line alone, you'll get it wrong. If you put the answer alone, you'll get it wrong. Do you all understand that? I'll say it again. That's something that's called a format, right? The format I show you here had 2 things in it. It had an answer, if you read back generally paper, and it had the answers and it had the lines. It had the support. If you put half of this, you'll get it wrong. Eh? You hear what I'm telling you all? Some people don't get this enough. That's why I tell you this is a format. If you put the lines alone, you'll get it wrong. You have to say the answer. The answer is a negative safety indicator is a lack of training. Then you say this is seen where there was no general awareness training provided. Right? Let's go down and see if we can find the next one. You understand what I mean by comprehension now, people? And how long you have to do this? How much hours you have to do this paper?
24 hours.
So do you think this will take you a whole hour to do this one question? You think it take a whole hour to find those negative indicators? No. You'll finish this in probably half an hour time, 45 minutes time. Right? Do you want to do another one or you want me to end off? Or you think you get the point? Because I had something else, I mean nothing important, but just to kind of end off now.
Yeah, one more.
One more? Okay. You find out what you can from this contractor. They do not appear to have any enforcement action taken against them, but that's good. Remember, we're looking for things that is bad, right? We're looking for things that are bad. So we're scanning. We're scanning. Okay, look one here. A new floor is being installed, which has been left with an unprotected edge with a vertical drop. So they didn't put like a caution tape or they didn't block off. It's like an edge then. They could have probably put a temporary barrier, right? So you can put a negative safety indicator is a lack of proper cordon off or isolation of any exposed areas. First up, you could say this is seen in the new upper floor which has been left with an unprotected edge. By the way, if you read this, a man actually fall from it, but we had to go down and you'll see, right? Watch it here. While lifting some wooden boards near the unprotected edge, one of the contractor workers stumbles and falls 3 meters. That's more than 6 feet. That's higher than that's high like your ceiling, right? Hitting their head on the concrete floor below. So what's the negative safety indicator there? He dead. No. What's a negative safety indicator here? He fell. But what should he have had on then? Come here quickly.
PPE.
You should have had on a harness. So you could say
Like part
a
of
negative safety indicator is that the worker will not given proper PPE. This is seen in the case study where a contractor worker stumbles and falls 3 meters, hitting his head on the concrete below. If he had on PPE, he would not have, struck the concrete. I finished now. I finished teaching already. Long time, right? Folks, so just to end off, right? Just to end off, so your exam comes home to you on your computer, right? The last month of the exam, when you register, the exam comes on your email. Remember, it's not supervised. I would not be looking at you. There's no need to. The exam is too easy, right? So when you register, your email and the exam comes to your email 6 or 7 a.m. in the morning, and you have up to 6 or 7 a.m. It is normally a Wednesday. Exams are normally a Wednesday. And the paper will be due 6 to 7 the following Thursday, because remember, it's 24 hours you have. So 6 a.m. of Wednesday to about 6 a.m. of Thursday. Most people, if you all start 6 o'clock, now I'm talking from experience. I'm not just talking, I started 9 o'clock. And I had my son to carry till SCA lessons. I took him about 9 o'clock, drop him back home, and I finish about 4 o'clock. So if you start 6 o'clock, you probably finish by 4 o'clock. Now, there are some people that say they wake whole night or half night, and that's okay. But that's probably because you start late, or probably you're checking over. A lot of people, when they finish 4 o'clock, they don't submit. You're submitting back on the same site, right? They submit the email, they submit back on we have an exam platform, or should I say NEBOSH has an exam platform. They will send you an email with the link, you access the link. It's kind of like Play, if you all know what I'm talking about. You access the platform, the paper will be there. When you finish it, you upload back the paper back on the platform. So you need a computer to type. You also need a PDF converter because you can download that because the submissions is in PDF. It doesn't take Word. Like when you finish typing Word, you have to convert it to PDF and then you upload it back to the system, right? It's very easy, very nice. Once you download the paper, let's say you log on. Could I change the background? Because I'll just come off the background a bit, right? I'm going back to the PowerPoint I had, right? Or to a PowerPoint, right? So once you log on and let's say it's 6, 6:30, 7, you could download the paper anytime, right? Once you download the paper, you don't have to stay on the platform. You could print the paper and start working. Folks, you understand that? The reason for going to the platform is to get the paper, but once this down means to download, for the 24 hours, then you're not on the physical platform. You could just be working on your laptop. When you finish 4 o'clock, by the way, I advise all my students, at the end of every question, take a break, buy some snacks. At the end of every question is like an achievement now. When you finish a question, you finish a question. Take a walk, eat some snacks, right? Come back, do our next one. By 4 o'clock, you're finished. But most people, they check over. By 10 o'clock, and then you should submit. Now, if you're working, look, I had a student that started 6 p.m. and she got 84 on this exam, right? She started 6 p.m. in the evening because of work. I think she worked whole night though, till about half. But she had to submit about 6 o'clock the following day, right? But you don't need to stress yourself out like that. You could do like me, right? Start early, finish early, and put that behind you, right? So the only thing now is when is exam, right? Because like I said, today was a full orientation. Are we gonna stop now? Let me stop the recording now, in fact, right? Because we have made it to the 10:30 hour, right?